all over.
All over.
Introduce yourself.
My name's David. I have a problem.
Yeah, that's that was literally where I was going. Okay, we're starting over really?
Go.
All right.
Yeah, just about the financial calculator.
All right.
100K house, you're
Okay.
buying it for.
Okay, here we go. We're buying a 100K house. We're buying it for $70,000. That's what you contracted for. But you offer them some now, some later, because you found out that the problem they have is they need 25 to 30K cash. That's the problem you centered on. You found out that that's what they need. So you turn around and say, you know what? I think I can make this work. And so you've been going back and forth negotiating. You'd offered them 60K. They can't take it. And so you go, well, how about this? What if I could get you 70? If I can get you 70, we do it a little bit different. I'll turn around. I'll give you 35K now, and I'll give you 35K later. And you don't say anything else. A lot of times I'll literally write it on a yellow notepad. So it's bold right there in front of them. And they, how much later? They're like, well, I said, well, I mean, I'm typically looking at about 10 years. They're like 10 years, they freak out. They come all the way back. Well, no, I said, well, how long were you thinking? And they go, well, I was thinking in 30 days, 90 days. No, I couldn't do that. So, well, you know, what can you do? And they go, well, we could do 6 months, a year. I go, I could go 5. Now I've come way down, or I might even come to 6 or so, huh?
Well, you got to do your calculations.
Yeah,
on
I understand.
how many years.
Yeah, but I've already done these calculations by the time I get to this point. Just so we're aware.
I thought that's what you were presenting them.
I'm fixing to present the calculations. I'll tell you how you got there. And why. Huh? You start over? Anyway, point is now you're doing 35K now, 35K later. So if I take and I do that 35K now, 35K later, the now money's worth 35,000. But the future money, because of time value of money, is not worth 35,000 a day. It's worth something less. So what is that less? So you have to add some kind of yield to it. So I typically use 12%. The reason why I use 12% is because I assume that I'm going to go borrow hard money. I'm going to go pay 12% money if I had to do this. When I started, I had to pay for 18% money. But nowadays, you could probably readily get 12% money just about anywhere. There's a lot of IRAs out there, a lot of IRA investors, and people give you 12% money in the known world. You can get cheaper money in the complete private sector. So if I'm going to use 12%, now I turn around, I take that 35K, and I got to figure out how to move this paper up.
So 60 months.
I don't know, hang on. There we go. So if I do it 5 years from now, we're going to have 60 in what's called an N in the financial calculator.
It's the number of periods.
In future value, we're going to have that 35K. In payment on the calculator, you're going to have 0. On interest, you're going to have 12%. And you're computing for present value, which is what the money is worth today. So if we did 5 years and did it today, what is it?
19,265.
19,200?
65. 19,265.
Okay, so 19,000.
265.
19K. Deal in thousands. Forget about the hundreds. All right. So 19K. So if you take 25 and 19K, you just paid 44 for the property. Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Everybody following this now?
Yes.
Does this make more sense at all? Anybody lost?
Wow.
Who's lost? Okay.
I'm with you.
Okay. You're lost? Okay. Tell me as best you can what you're lost at. Everything. All right. I'm going to make it a picture for him. I have a full bottle of water here today. Okay. And I take another full bottle of water. Well, we're going to pretend it's a full bottle. There we go. I take another full bottle of water, and it's sitting out here 5 years in the future. Okay. So that bottle of water 5 years in the future, it sits there in the sun and everything else. Guess what happens? By the time we get to that bottle of water, the water's going to be gone. It's going to be evaporated. There's not going to be very much water left because it'll have evaporated over time, right? Money works the same way. It's the time value of money. Money works exactly the same way. So If I buy something with today's dollars, that's $35,000. If I go to my hard money lender, I gotta pay him 12% for that money. Okay? Now, if I put the other money out in the future, I don't have to pay for that money right now. So I have eroded its value because it's not worth $35,000 anymore. I've moved it to the future, to a part in the future. And by the time I get to that future point, it'll be worth $35K then, but $35K will not be it. So
Because of inflation.
Because of inflation. Huh?
Yeah, what he wrote.
Inflation. Yeah. So the time value money constantly gets eroded. So you have to have a percentage charge on there to see what that erosion is. I use 12% because that's the cost of my money. So it's a made up number. You could use 5% on the money and it would be more. It depends on your cost of money. But I use 12% because that's, again, readily available, what we always use. Now, the problem is when doing these transactions, is a lot of people will they'll change it up. They'll change the transaction up. And they'll do this deal and they'll screw it up.
Can
And I
we go
see
back
this
to
all
your
the time.
example?
Huh?
Can I go back to your current example? So
Okay.
you said that you get money at 12% and it was like 19,000, right?
Yeah.
So are you saying that you would go raise that money today?
No.
If you'd raise it in 35 years?
And I'd raise it in 5 years.
And I'm sorry, 5 years.
Yes.
Correct. So you're raising 35K in 5 years, but the value of that then would be the 19.
So let's go the other way. This part I could just tell without writing down. Okay, so we said the property was worth how much? 100,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh? What now?
He was just trying to express time value of money.
That's
I'm just trying to
discounted.
express the time value money.
Now he's going to teach actual deal structuring with how he's going to choose the years and stuff like that. That's
Yep.
what
Yeah.
they care about.
Yeah.
He wants to know what the 19,000 means.
The discount.
It's just the value of the money today.
You're 35.
Gives me an idea that, in other words, if I'm adding 35,000 plus 20,000, if I had to go get it, if I paid cash for that property, and I went to go do it, and I borrowed $44,000 at 12%, that's effectively what I paid for the property. Well, let me go backwards. Let's work
No, you
backwards.
paid
Every-
54.
Huh? 54.
54.
Sorry, 54. Can't add.
Just tell him what you just did with the discount on the 35,000. So instead of paying 35,000 in 5 years, that money in 5 years is worth $19,000 in today's money.
Yeah.
Does the difference between the present value and future value, does that represent the accrued interest over the 60
Yes.
month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So work backwards. So it's a $100,000 deal. You go sell it under financing. You get 10K. You get 10K up front. What?
So 90.
Yeah. So now you're financing 90,000 to somebody. So let's finance 90,000 at let's do something nominal, 8.5. Keep it low. We won't even go 9.99.
692.
$692 a month. So now I have $692 a month that I can spend to buy that house. That's the payment, incoming payment that I will have from a buyer. So I have $692 coming. So I took 10K and I put it in my hip pocket National Bank. I got paid today. And now I have somebody, Casey says he's gonna pay me $692 a month for 20 years or 30 years on this house. But now I need to convert that into dollars. So take 692 and let's take the 12% and 35K and see how many months it takes to pay that off. Hopefully we're close.
71.
71 months. So I screwed up a little bit. Because it takes 71 months, I'll actually have to add a little more extra money on the second loan. Or I'll have to take money from my down payment and add it to the loan. So put 60 months in there and hit present value.
31.
31. Okay. So what that would mean in that case, so $692 a month, or I could raise my interest rate. Let's take that same 90K loan and make it 9.99. Let's go all the way.
789.
789.
789.
There we go.
Yes,
What does that do?
60 months at 12% is 35,400.
Perfect. Okay, does everybody follow me so far?
You
So I have
did it right.
a $90,000 loan.
I-
You
I-
talk all right. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, people need to see what you're doing on the 10B2, I think.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
There you go. Where's the style?
It's like opening up his brain.
That's scary.
So anybody know what is the effective sale price in today's dollars on the property we're talking about? That he bought?
Okay.
Anybody know?
All right. So you have a 100K house, you sell the house for $100,000.
Oh.
All right, you sell the house for $100,000. You got $10,000 down. That went to Hip Pocket National Bank. We've now run the numbers, and we got to finance the house. We're financing $90,000, and we're going to finance it at 9.99%. That's going to produce a payment of $789. So now the person is paying us $789 a month for 30 years. Is everybody with me so far?
How do you scroll up?
Hit that arrow. Hit the arrow. There you go. I borrowed $35,000 at 12% to buy this deal. The $789 a month coming in liquidates that loan in 5 years. In 5 years, that loan's paid for. It's gone. I no longer have to worry about paying it. But now I owe the person another $35,000, right? So now I borrow another $35,000. It's the same deal. Now the $789 pays off the second loan of $35,000. So now in 10 years, in 10 years, this loan is paid off. There's no money left. I don't owe anybody any money on this loan. So that means I have $789 coming in for 20 years. Everybody got that? Who's lost? It's okay.
I was confused.
Okay.
Do you have to pay the original 35 at closing?
I did.
Yeah, but you said another 5 years.
I borrowed $35,000 at closing
Okay.
from a hard money lender. Now my note. So we have two things. On one side of the deal, we have the house. On the other, we have the note that we financed. On the note, they're paying me. They owe me $90,000. They're paying $789 a month. So I borrow at closing. I borrow $35,000. When I borrow that $35,000, that $789 a month goes and pays back that loan on that 12% loan note for $35,000. And in 5 years, that loan is paid off.
And then you basically do it again?
Then I do it again. I do it the second time. I borrow against the note again. And when I borrow against the note again, in 5 years it's paid off. And that leaves me with a payment stream on the back end of 20 years of $789 a month. So, now do y'all want to see what the profit we made today is on this type of deal?
10K.
Huh?
10K.
We made 10K, but we made whatever the time value of the money the other money is too.
True.
So now we're going to take and we're going to put 20 years in the calculator. So 240 months. Huh? 190?
That's the overall.
No, do 789, do 240 months, and do 9.99%, hit present value.
81,831.
81,831. Now move that 81,831 into the future value. Move 120 into the end and calculate for present value.
How do you copy the PV to SP?
Just undo the negative.
Oh, okay.
I think you're gonna have to show that.
Okay. Are you following? You tracking?
Well, I lost access to the financial calculator, so I'm just transcribing what you're saying.
Okay. We got 20 years, 9.99. That present value is 81K. But that money's in the future again. In other words, when we get when we get 10 years in the future, that payer's still going to owe us $81,000 on their loan. Remember they borrowed $90,000, huh?
That's the amortization.
That's the amortization. If you look at an amortization schedule and you get 10 years in the future, they're still going to owe me $81,000 on this transaction.
So 81K is in the future.
81K is in the future.
Finish it out for me.
Okay, so 81K is in the future. We got zero payment for 10 years. So we're going to put 120 in the end.
Is the 81,000 positive or negative?
81,000 negative. And then in interest right here, do 9.99. Oh, 81,000 in the future values. That's positive. Sorry.
And then we're solving for present value.
Solving for present value.
And the answer is
Or 121,
29,789.
30K. Okay. So we made 40K on this transaction. In today's dollars. Is everybody with me?
Can I realize 190 for 789 times
What's that?
140?
What's that?
But I realized 190,000 over the 20 years because they gave it to me at 789 in monthly installments.
Yes.
The
because
present value of 40,000 has a future value of one.
The present value of 30K has a future value of 81K. We put 10K in our pocket up front.
So if I follow what you're saying, you use the first 10 years of the loan to liquidate the purchase price.
Yes.
Okay? So that's why he wanted to calculate in 10 years, what does the borrower still owe? Oh, it's $81,000. That's the present value in 10 years. So that's why we use this calculation to find out, well, what is that worth today in today's dollars? You just back it in. So you made a gain of $30,000.
You liquidated the 70,000 is the way that you're saying that?
Yes.
81,000 liquidated the 70,000.
Liquidated implies that you actually sold it. This is a mathematical formula to try to find the value today of a payment stream or a sum in the future. It's all just calculating. Because what did you actually get today? Nothing. You got a down payment.
And Grant,
Yes, you got your down payment. You got the right to receive this payment stream of which you're giving to other investors to pay the seller. So I would do that deal. Great deal. You in 10 years, you've set up a good, yeah. You created an annuity from nothing.
Yes. You create money out of air doing these deals. Now, here's the problems with doing these deals that I see. Now roll it up one more time. What I see a lot of people do is they'll give a seller the same money. They'll give them $35,000 now, and then they'll give them the other $35,000, $500 a month today. So they'll turn around and say, well, I'm going to give you $35,000 now, and I'll give you $500 a month today. So
you're doing both?
that's what a lot of people, people, newbies will come out and structure their deals that way.
Okay, well let's express it why that doesn't work.
Okay. The reason why it doesn't work is because if you do $500 a month, that'd be $500 a month for 70 months.
On top of the 789.
No.
So here, okay. So in that deal, you got to pay $35,000 now
35 cash now, remember?
plus $789 minus you promised the seller $500. So you only have, what is that? $289. So you only have $289 cash flow to pay for the $35. Problem.
So if you agreed to give that seller $35,000 a day, a giant down payment, and $500 a month, you can't afford to pay that seller because you got to pay your,
Where are you going to get the 35?
yeah.
How many 289? Tell me how many months you got to sell off to get 35,000 now at a 12% yield? Somebody do that math for me. It's going to be a lot more than 5 years.
Yeah, so we're calculating that. You're taking, so what you're doing, you're
So 289 at 12% interest
80
here.
months. 80.
So this is what I was asking for. We're solving
80
for
months.
in with.
no, there's no solution. There's
It
no
doesn't
solution.
work. It doesn't work.
So it doesn't work. Now, does everybody understand why it doesn't work? You do not have enough payment to pay back the $35,000 that you'd have to borrow to buy the deal. So now let's even go further. Now you got the $10,000 down payment, and we took it out of the money. So now you didn't get to keep the $10K. You took the $10,000 out, and so now you still owe the seller $25,000. So you borrowed $25,000. Let's reduce it.
Okay.
201.
25,000 is 201.
Yeah.
So 201 months. So you're not free and clear on the deal for 201 months.
Boo.
And you didn't make any money up front because you structured the deal bad.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
If you had it at 9%, it would be sold.
If you can borrow your money cheaply.
Yeah.
But
10 or
you
11.
can't bank on that.
No, I know. That's what I'm just.
I'm trying to show you how to do these deals because when I started, I had to borrow the money at 18%, and I still made them work because I had to buy in such a way that I could break these deals apart.
Okay.
All right, so now,
So do you want to change your deal structure if they're like, I gotta have $500 a month or $300 a month or something? You could press what you can give them up
yeah,
front.
if they got to have $500 a month, then you got to figure out what $289 will buy you.
It's like, okay, do the inverse.
So if you figure out what $289 will buy you, because that's what you're able to spend,
What's the term? 30 years?
go 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Okay. 20,000?
20,000. So you can give them 20,000 up front if they wanted that money.
And what's 500 a month times 10 years? For a total, this is the total sales price.
60,000. So you could buy it. So
You can buy it for 80.
You can buy it for 80. You can make them another offer of 80,000.
Okay.
We're gonna lose people here.
Probably.
Scroll up. Scroll up. Scroll up.
Just let me express it.
Okay. You're not expressing. All right. Okay, that's good.
Is 60, right?
60. Yep. Okay. So
That's
now
it accomplishes the same thing.
we had $789 a month coming in on the deal. We had $789 a month coming in on the deal. We owner financed it for $100,000. We got $10,000 down. That went in HPMB.
That's right here.
They all know that. We're good. 90K, 9.99, 30 years, is $789 a month. Is everybody with me?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Anybody behind? Anybody lost? Okay. Now scroll back up.
All the above.
Well, remember how we only get the deal back in 10 years with the 35K now and 35K in 5 years. Does everyone remember that?
Yeah.
Well, this accomplishes the same mission
Okay.
right
So
here.
right here. So another offer we could have offered is $80,000 with 20K cash up front that we borrowed from a hard money lender at 12%. Now, let me ask you a question. How hard would it be to borrow $20,000 against a 100K property? Or hard or easy? Piece of cake, right? Okay, so you go borrow 20K against the property, and you're actually going to borrow against the note after I show you the next step here. 20K, 12%, 120 months, $289 payment. You had a $789 payment coming in. You also agree to pay the seller $500 a month at 0%. You do so. Never mention interest rate. Just say $500 a month till paid. That's a rookie mistake. Is to mention interest rate. $500 a month till paid. That's 120 months. That deal right there. Now you're paying them 80K. So you can offer them 80K or you can offer them 70K. There's two offers right there that you can offer these people to pay them more than what they would get normally.
But what did you make?
We still made 40K.
We still make, because we get the note back in 10 years. We just figured out a way to chop it up different. We still make this right here. 81,000 future value in 10 years is worth 30K today. It's the same thing.
If I hear right, I guess you're saying, don't give them big money down. If you're gonna give them big money down now, you can't give them monthly cash flow.
No. You can't do both because you got to be. Every deal has to fit together like a puzzle, and that's when I started this going in. That's what I knew. I understood the time value of money and put these pieces together like a puzzle so they fit, so that I didn't have any money out of my pocket.
And so then, if they've gotta have some cash now, you either gotta take it from, if they gotta have monthly cash money, like $500, you either gotta take it from the cash now or the sales price.
That's right.
And find that sweet spot.
Yes, it's a puzzle. So, all right. So now, scroll up. Okay. When I first started, this is how I had to do a transaction. No, go ahead and call that. Draw me a house on the left-hand side, and then a buyer and seller somewhere. Yeah. Okay. When I first started, I had to go contract to buy a house with my seller. Then I had to find my buyer. So in other words, on that deal I just told you about, I went and I contracted to buy the house for whatever reason. I've contracted to buy it for the 70K, 35K now, and 35K in the future, or 80K, 20K now, and 500 a month. I get that house under contract. But I didn't have any money. I had zero money. David Alexander's pockets did not run deep. In fact, they run more in the negative sort of place most of the time. Very negative. I was so broke I didn't have bills. So whenever we had we got the buyer, we got the contract with the buyer, got the contract with the seller between the two. Now I turned around and I went to closing. Except the difference was, when I went to closing, when they sold, I did it with owner financing. So I bought and sold the house with owner financing. So now, when you do it with owner financing, at the end of it, you end up with a note. So I end up with a note payable to yours truly. So now, my buyer is selling to me. I'm selling to a seller with owner financing, and that seller is going to owe me $10K cash and a note for $90K. And what I understood at the time is that note was sellable. See, y'all are trying to buy houses. I'm trying to own notes. So, in the beginning, some of the notes I just had to sell off. And that's what most people do. Most people just sell the entire note off. So they take that payment stream, and we're not going to write this one up there, but I'll figure it out. They take that payment stream, that $789,000 payment stream. Let me get it in the calculator here.
$789 a month.
12%, and it's 30 years. They sell it off. So what they'd be able to sell it off for is about $76,700, because there are hard money people out there that would buy that $90,000 note for about $77,000. Okay? So you'd sell the whole, back then, I would sell the whole note off. So if I got 77 from that, plus the 10K,
Wow.
now I got my money in, and I could pay cash for the property if I had to. But I didn't like that plan, because of that plan, I didn't end up owning a note. I made some money, but I didn't own a note. My goal is to own a note. So then I had to learn how to sell off a part of my note to get the money. Okay? Airplanes.
That's cool.
So I would sell off a part of my note to get the money, or borrow against my note. It's better to, when you're talking to people, in the beginning, I didn't want to go with hat in hand and say, can I borrow some money, please? I'm a salesman. I want to sell something. I wanted to sell some payments to somebody. So I would go and meet with investors and say, hey, I have a payment stream that you can get 12% on. And I would sell them X amount of payment streams. So in this case, we sell them 10 years of payments. And we sell them 10 years of payments, and when their payment stream's over, I get my note back, which was my whole goal. Because my goal is to build wealth. See, y'all's goal is to build a business. My goal is to build wealth. The business is a tool, and it should be building you wealth.
What do they pay right now?
Huh?
What do they pay right now for 10 years worth of?
Whatever they agree. Yeah, how are we structured it? Whatever the yield is, whatever yield
Were we doing
requirement.
$20,000 now, or were we doing 35 and 35 in 5 years?
Yeah.
We had different options, but basically we were selling off 10 years.
And we could have had another option there. We could have had just if we bought it for cash. What would 789 be for cash for 10 years?
Yeah, good call.
So 789, 12% for cash for 10 years. Oops. That'd be $55,000. So I could offer $55,000 cash to the seller as well.
Wouldn't you also have the ability to change the interest rate to benefit you,
What do you mean?
to who you're selling to?
Well, you
The
can
market
only
you're
push it
selling
as far
off?
as the market will bear.
Because, right.
Or usury law.
But
Yeah.
hypothetically, that's an option.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I sold it to them for 9.99, so that's pretty high.
Okay.
I sold it to them for 9.99 in there. But so I could so what Jared just wrote up here, if I sold out 10 years of the note at 12%, remember the note is $90,000 at 9.99 for 30 years. But if I sold out 10 years, that would generate me $55,000. I still put 10K in my pocket today. I give my person 55,000 cash. So now I got 3 offers on the table to this person. I got a 55K all cash offer. I got a 70K, 35K now, and 35K later offer. And I got an 80K offer, 20K now, and $500 a month. Does everybody click? Because I got a lot of dumb stares. I don't know if y'all's eyes are glazed over or if it's sunk in. Is there anybody? Everybody good?
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the best way to learn how to use that calculator?
The book Invest in Debt.
Invest in that.
Gary Johnston is $20. GaryJohnston.com. It's the only place you can get that book. You buy it on Amazon, it's $200 or $300.
That's the present value, right?
What's that?
The book.
Oh yeah, yeah. No doubt.
That's funny.
Actually, the present value of that book's a whole lot more.
The value of the book.
Yeah, the value of that book's a lot more than $20. The cheapest book I've ever bought in my life. Okay, is everybody good there? Anybody lost?
Did everybody see how many parties had to be pleased in order to create that kind of money?
Go ahead. Huh? Do it one more time?
I think this would be good, like when we take a break, just sitting down with somebody and writing this
Okay.
out.
So, I signed a contract with Jared to buy his house. I'm going to buy his house. Now, I sold my house to Michael. So, I'm buying the house. We're going to go 3 different scenarios. I'm buying the
So
house.
I'm the seller.
He's the seller. I'm buying the house and I'm contracted to buy it for $55K cash. Okay? Now I'm selling it to Michael for $100K with $10K down. And Michael's agreed to pay me write a $90K note at 9.99%. Okay? Now, Brendan's going to be my investor.
Right.
He wants 12% on his money. Okay? And he's agreed to buy part of my note at close. So now I have no money. I'm walking to this deal, I have no money. I have a lot of energy, but no money.
So show the flow, because that's exactly the flow.
Okay. Buyer, seller,
Lender.
note. Yeah, lender and a note. So now when I close,
I'm giving you the 55.
when I close, Brenda's banging $55,000 cash to the closing table.
And what does he leave with?
And he leaves with a collateral assignment of my note. I don't want to get y'all lost in the
The
details.
right to receive 10 years of payment.
Yes, that's the better way to
So
explain it.
789 is coming my way for 10 years.
So $789.
$789. Yep.
He's receiving $789 for 10 years.
And what's the buyer showing up with?
The buyer show.
Buying short up with $10,000.
Okay.
That's going to HPMB.
Hip Hop National.
There we go.
National Bank, and he's pledging I'll pay $789 for 30 years.
Yes, he's going to create a note for $90,000. He's going to pay us
Now I'm the seller. What am I leaving with?
$55K.
55K, and you're the deal maker. You're leaving with
10.
I'm leaving with
And-
10K,
And 20
You're
years.
and I'm leaving with 20 years and the right to receive payments 10 years from now for
and that's called a
$789.
tail. That's that bottom one. Tail.
Yes, it's tail end of a note.
Till in 20.
Okay?
The tail 20 years.
Is he paying then 12% on that? He's paying 12%, or he's getting 12% on that 55?
Yep.
Okay.
The lender is.
Yeah, the
You're
lender.
getting
lending
12.
him money because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
paying me monthly 789.
He's receiving $789 for 10 years.
120.
Did that clear it up? Okay, now, next version. Next version, same exact scenario, except we're paid $70K. I gave him $35K at closing. And a note to receive another $35K in 5 years.
Okay. So let's go through what everyone receives. Same
Okay?
thing.
Same thing. I'm still receiving $10K here and a 90K note here.
Okay, lender is.
And lender's putting up 35,000 this time, and he's receiving 5 years of payments. Okay? And then in 5 years from now, I'm going to borrow another 5 years from him or somebody else to pay the second 35. And then once that's paid, I still get the back end. And then the third scenario is
20K.
20K. I'm giving him 20K up front, and I'm giving a note for $500 a month. I'm getting 10K, Hip Pocket National Bank.
The right to receive $789 for 30 years.
Yep. And I'm borrowing
And
20K.
He for 20,000 now, he gets the right to receive $289 a month for 10 years.
For 10 years. Yep. Good?
That's more clear, yeah.
Okay.
More clear.
And it all came down to 30K present value right now. All scenarios is what the deal maker made in today's dollars.
Very good.
Everybody got it? Click.
All right.
All right.
Let's give it up for David.
What time is it?
Yeah.
No, go.